everybody, it's Monday and we're outside again. Last week we made our worm composting bin and we are going to open those guys up and check on them in a little while so we can see how they're doing, and I might need to add some water to it. We'll find out when we check it. Today what we're going to build is a solar oven, and the reason I want to do a solar oven is because it's just kind of cool, and secondly because we've been learning about rays coming from the sun, ultraviolet radiation, and it's going to kind of help us better understand what we can use ultraviolet radiation for, because there are a lot of different reasons why the energy from the sun is so important to our planet. All right, let's see. The top of this is pretty dry, so I think we are going to need to spray it down some. Let's see what we uncover. Let's see. I don't see any worms yet. What's this? That's part of a banana peel. Alright, so the top probably inch of this shredded paper is pretty dry. It's still pretty damp and humid lower down inside of there, but we need to keep it more damp than what it is right now. And I checked it a few days ago and I sprayed it down, and so it's just because we have air holes in the top, that water is going to evaporate out and escape some. So I'm using special water, because if you put a lot of chlorinated water in with these guys over and over and over again, I don't think it's very good for them. And when we originally set up, I was just using tap water, and so I know they've gotten probably as much chlorine as they probably want. And so what I did was, you can set water out like in a bowl for 24 hours, and the chlorine like evaporates out of it, and then it's not chlorinated anymore. And so that's what I filled this up with, so that they're not getting all the chlorine. Anything's come out the bottom of this yet? No. I put rocks in the bottom because this was lowering further down into this container than I thought it should, and it was really hard to get it apart. So I put rocks under there just as spacers so that it sits on the top a little bit better. All right. So I think our worm composter is working really well. I think that they look healthy. They look like they're moist enough down in the level where they're living, and I think they really like banana peels. So before we build anything today, I want us to talk about solar radiation. The sun emits all forms of electromagnetic radiation. However, almost all of the radiation from the sun is in the form of visible light, ultraviolet light, and infrared. Infrared radiation from the sun warms our planet. Plants require sunlight to make food for themselves. Sunlight hits plants and is absorbed by chlorophyll. It is then combined with carbon dioxide and water to create glucose, which is food for the plant. Plants are the basis of almost every food web. Solar ovens use infrared radiation from the sun to cook food and heat water. Solar cooking can improve the quality of life and nutrition of some of the 3 billion people who lack adequate cooking fuel. Solar ovens are a safer and healthier way for them to cook. Solar ovens can also be used to make biologically contaminated water safe to drink. The purpose of a solar oven is that you are going to let the sun's rays into the box, and then the rays are going to, the energy of those rays is going to get kind of trapped in the box, and then it's going to make the inside of the box get a lot hotter than the air that's just outside around the box. And so you have to get a box that's big enough to fit a pie plate in. I don't think a pie plate's gonna fit in mine, but I do have some other containers that we've used for other labs this year that are smaller and they're made of the same material as a pie plate, so I'm gonna get one of those and I'm pretty sure it'll fit in the box. All right, so first I'm gonna tape it shut really good because we end up cutting a section out of the top, and so you want the rest of it closed up pretty tight. Okay, so now we have it taped up nice and tight. Yeah, I think that's gonna hold. And we are going, it has to open from the top, but it wants you to have an inch here. And so I'm gonna measure an inch from the edge all the way here. And then this is the fold side. And so you leave it the way, you know, you don't cut it. And then we can fold it up open, okay? I'm gonna cut along the marks that I've made on it. And like I said, I'm gonna leave myself an inch all around these edges. And then I don't cut across this side because this is the flap side. We have to make the flap reflective and the inside of our box reflective so that the light will bounce in and kind of bounce around inside of the box, and it heats up a lot faster because we're using solar energy, so we want that light to continue bouncing around in there. All completely covered with foil on the inside. Can you see? Wow, it's so shiny. All right, and so we're completely finished with the aluminum foil, and now we're going to use plastic wrap across the top of this because we want light to be able to reflect off of this. We're going to set it to where it will catch the light and reflect it in. And so we want light going in and this warming up, but we don't want our heat escaping. And so I went ahead and taped up the hole that was in the side of my box. I taped it on the outside and the inside, and then I lined foil over the top of it. And then the plastic wrap is going to stop our heat from escaping out. Because remember when we learned about convection currents, that the heat, warm air and warm liquids want to rise. And so our heat would all escape out of our box if we don't cover the top of it, okay? So we've attached one of our chopsticks because it's kind of our prop that we're going to use for opening, and I'm trying to figure out how I can direct the most sun into it. Alright, so we played around with the angle of the flap, and it seems like this is where we're getting the most sun based on where the sun is in the sky right now. And so we taped the stick, it's taped on this end and it's taped on this end, and it's a little bit windy outside, and so I'm going to kind of put some heavy stuff around it so that the box doesn't blow off. And we are going to let our oven preheat for like 20 or 30 minutes, and then we're going to see if we can cook something in our oven today. Alright, so we let the oven sit out here in the sun and preheat for 30 minutes, and I went in and got our s'mores ready to go. The way that it recommends you to make your s'mores is the graham cracker and the marshmallow first, and we're gonna check on it from time to time, and when our marshmallows start looking mushy, like melty, then we put the chocolate and the top part of the graham cracker on it. Okay, so I'm gonna open it up and get our goodies in there. I say I'm going to. So we put our s'mores inside, we retaped the plastic wrap back onto it, and then we fixed our chopstick because it came unstuck, and so we used better tape on it. So we are going to let the sun shine on it, and we'll be back out to check on it in a little bit. Alright, so the marshmallows, you may have noticed I moved from the back of my house to the front of my house. And it's because the sun is hotter on this side in the afternoon. So they've been out in the sun for a couple of hours, I think. And we'll see. They're kind of mushy. I mean, they're soft in the middle. And we got kind of crunchy edges on them. Like, I don't know if you've ever roasted marshmallows, but when you do it on a fire, the outside gets crunchy. So the outside feels crunchy, the inside feels soft. But the bad news is, it got cloudy. And so the sun's not shining on these very good. But I'm not going to give up. We're going to put them together. Uh-oh. Well, that part got rejected. Anyway, put them together. I'll put the cover back on it. Maybe the sun will come out of the clouds, and in 10 or 15 minutes we'll eat them. And I'm thinking the next time I do this, I'm going to wait for it to be a hot day because it was really only like 70 degrees today. All right. Thank you guys. Bye.